When all of us arrived in Juneau, we knew we were going on a trip of a lifetime going hunting for Sitka black-tailed deer. We headed to our charter flight and got all of our gear loaded into the Beaver and Cessna they were flying us in to get us out to our hunting location. Once we were ready to go, we hopped onto the planes and away we were off, heading out deep into the Alaskan wilderness. It was impossible to fall asleep on this flight because you couldn't help but admire the amazing views and scenery all around us. I remember when we landed, I looked at my brother and told him, "Now this is what Alaska is all about." We unloaded the plane and put all of our gear into the Rangers that headed up to the lodge where we would be staying for the next week. When we walked in, we couldn't believe how amazing it was. With hundreds of deer antlers hanging around and a handful of bear rugs, the lodge is a hunter's paradise. Seeing all the deer racks on the wall got us fired up about hunting the next day. To pass the time while we waited, we decided to make sure our rifles were sighted in. All of our rifles were shooting perfectly. It was only midday, so we continued to explore the lodge and check out the views that surrounded the place. I grabbed my binos to see if I could spot some deer, but I couldn't see any. We went to bed that night with bellies full of steak, knowing that tomorrow we could finally go hunting. Morning finally came and we were all anxious to head out, so we took the Rangers down to the dock and got into the boat. Our guides took us out across to the other side of the island and dropped us off. We immediately ran into a big 2x3 buck and a doe. Unfortunately, when I brought my rifle up to my shoulder, the buck took off, but the doe walked to within 25 yards of us. We stayed there trying to call him back out, but he was long gone by then. So we continued on hiking, crossing multiple creeks while we walked and stopping occasionally when we reached an opening to blow on the deer call to see if a buck would step out. Since we weren't seeing many hiking, we cruised along the beach trying to spot some, but by the end of the day we didn't get any. After being rained on the whole day, it was nice to come back to a heated lodge to dry off in. On the second day of hunting, we got rained on the entire day, and again we didn't get any deer. But on the third day, there was a break in the weather and all of us had a really good feeling about the day to come. We got to a clearing and I ended up getting a nice doe. Our guide showed and helped us skin her. We continued hiking in hopes that my dad would be able to get one now. About 10 minutes later, our guide spotted a buck and my dad was able to take a shot on it. When he hit it, the buck ran off into the woods, so we had to track it down. We had to find the deer's blood trail and we followed it, and in the end we found the deer. We loaded the meat into our packs and continued on hiking. All of us were feeling really good now that we got a couple deer down. My brother Nate was in the hot seat. It was his turn to get a deer. We looked in a clearing next to where my dad got his buck, and my dad spotted another one walking all the way across the clearing. So it was game on. We started walking over to it, and after a couple misfires, Nate got a shot off and dropped the deer.
I saw it. I got that. Did you really?
We got a lot of good meat off of the buck. All of us were enjoying this adventure. Even Caden and Caleb were having a blast. Our packs were heavy and we headed back to the beach to get picked up. Caden and Caleb were even helping out by carrying some of the gear. And the views on the way back were absolutely incredible. While we were driving back to the lodge, we spotted another buck along the beach, and Ward was able to get a shot off. They hiked back into the woods and dragged the deer out to the beach. It was a great feeling seeing so much meat hanging up. Over the next couple of days, Ward and I both got another deer. We had a couple of other opportunities, but the deer ran off before any of us could take a shot on them. And just like that, the trip came to an end. We were sad to be leaving, but we were also happy because we had created memories that all of us will remember forever.